Later today, the US Fed drops their big announcement. Probably going to be a rate hold, but everybody's waiting in anticipation because what they say after they hold rates is going to be the big piece. This is going to be where they start to really set expectations for what's going to happen over the next 3 to 6 months. And at the end of the day, the rate the US bank decides to set rate cuts is going to dictate for the rest of the world how they follow. So it'll be an interesting one. Bond yields over the last couple of weeks spiked because inflation numbers for the US economy came out high in January and February, but they're starting to trend back down now, which keeps showing that there's a desire from the market to see rates lower, and expectations are over the next 3 years, 5 years, we're going to see rates substantially lower. Problem is, we don't know where it's going to land, and one thing I like to point out is in the 1970s and the early 80s, rates spiked to almost 13%, fell back down, and then spiked all the way up to 18%. So we should always be careful, and as professionals, really watch what we say. While rate cuts are expected, they're certainly not guaranteed. Overall, we're seeing the market heating up. We're seeing multiple offers starting to pop up in the Vancouver markets, on the island. Alberta's just on fire. Everywhere is quite busy right now. So we're starting to see lender timelines stretch out and really seeing clients that are not proactive with choosing their lawyers early, starting to see the early signs that it's going to get more challenging to pick up a lawyer. So I really recommend just make sure your clients are pre-qualified. In the last 100 files we've had, we haven't needed any extensions where the clients were pre-qualified. So good news is that we're still able to consistently turn around and we're still getting things done in advance rather than the last minute. But if I look back over my last 9 years in the industry, if the market keeps getting busier, we're going to see approvals happening more and more the day of condition waiver. And the reason for that, in case you're ever wondering, is that if a lender's got 100 files, they're always going to prioritize the most urgent ones first. So sadly, it's not a first come, first served basis, but rather what's the most urgent? Because banks being banks, they want to make as much money as possible. So they try to jam everything through. If you guys need any help or questions, let me know. I'm going to try to keep these videos relatively short because I know you're busy. I have added a new section into the actual email itself that shows for insured and insurable mortgages what the minimum income is to qualify with the stress test for $100,000. Now, this is ignoring property taxes, heat, strata fees. So do know that this is not, $300,000 purchase needs this much income. There's a little bit more to it, but should give you a good baseline. Below that, I've also got the turnaround times that lenders are taking on average, kind of what the fastest is, what the average we're seeing is, and what we're going to need for complex files, as well as how long we need for closing. So this is kind of an aggregate of what we're seeing amongst many lenders. So there are certain lenders we can choose that can be very fast. There are other lenders that maybe have slightly more aggressive rates or a little slower, but this is part of our process to help clients find the right lender. It's not always about saving the 0.1%, but making sure we go to the bank or the lender, credit union, monoline, who's going to get the deal done. Because if it's a hot competitive market, we want to make sure we're not walking away from accepted offers because we try to save a little bit of money. I know we'd all love to save $12 a month, but at the end of the day, it's not worth losing the right home for. So if there's anything you need, any help, anything I can do to make your life easier, just reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks because the feedback I've had is that everybody's busy and 2 weeks is probably better than weekly. So if you need anything, talk soon. Cheers.